Hello, everyone, and this is my review for TNA Impact Wrestling on January 26, 2016. And, obviously they're just coming off of the aspect of the double turn with Matt Hardy and EC3. So they do start off the night with Jeff Hardy coming out there calling out his brother, trying to get explanation for everything that was going on. So it seems that they are going into a route of going right after a Matt versus Jeff over the World Heavyweight title, and you get that feeling right off the bat. I liked how the two of them played off of each other. I've always liked Matt Hardy as a heel. He comes off. I think he comes off really good. You don't necessarily need to have Ruby Sky and Tyrus do too much of anything out there in the terms of mic work, because Matt can usually play off of that very well, and it did come off here in that sense. And I do like his kind of explanation of going heel again, basically saying he needed to stop giving, he needed to start taking. It works, and his just overall change in attitude and everything like that. I liked what they did. What they did here. I'll talk a little bit later on about it a little bit more, but we're gonna go straight into some of the other stuff for the night. And the first thing that they did tonight, and I'll be the one that I say it every year. I don't like Feast or Fired. I really don't. It's just one of those things. It's like they've never really done that much with it. It hasn't helped build anybody. It hasn't, in a sense, in some senses, it does do the unpredictability thing about the Money in the Bank briefcase in WWE. But even when WWE had the two heavyweight championships, I didn't even like the aspect that they had two of them at that point, and it was better when it was only the one, and that both champions were kind of at odds on, like, hey, can this person cash in on me or something in that sense. It could even throw an aspect of someone switching over to a different brand at that time, even though they don't do brands anymore. I liked it better when it was at one, and now, and like in WWE, it's only one again. But over here in TNA, they've done Feast or Fire for so many years, and it's always had the three briefcases with three title matches, and one you're fired. In all honesty, I've never liked it because it's really not done much of anything, and some of the ways that they've gotten rid of some of those briefcases have been absolutely horrendous in certain ways, especially like when Hernandez had the World Heavyweight title one. He came out during a fatal four-way match and inserted himself in there, and then gets taken out on the rampway about 2 minutes in. It just, like, they misbook certain things in this case. Now, it could be completely different this year, though. The one title that was kind of, I think if they were truly to do it, they should have done 5 briefcases this year to include all titles like they usually do. I know they never did one for the television title, but that was one that was, quote unquote, the television title was supposed to be defended weekly on television anyway. So that was that aspect of everything there. But this year they left the X Division title out of this equation, and that's kind of weird in this case. So the people that grabbed the briefcases, Drew Galloway, James Storm, Eli Drake, and Grado. And they eventually, of course, they did this whole aspect of this semi-reality show of the unveiling of the briefcases with the Backstage Segment, which is usually a decent segment, and I thought it came off well, and each person reacted properly in every single way. Like, they completely stood to character with how everything was. I liked how Eli Drake interacted with everybody, and and on the aspect that he may have already known what he had going in there to begin with. James Storm and Bobby Roode's reaction to getting the tag team title match was great in there. I thought, like I said, in the end, I thought they did a really good job of setting up the tension on that one. And then Drew Galloway's reaction and Grado's reaction as well. Both were very suiting. obviously, someone getting fired, you're never going to be happy about getting fired. So Grado did the most proper way of doing that in his reaction. And I liked how Drew Galloway's was. It was like he called it bittersweet because he considered Grado a friend and everything like that. But he got the World Heavyweight title shot. And I ended up liking that entire segment, and including the bit at the beginning with Michael Bennett coming in there as well. I thought they did a really good job on every sense, though I liked the Michael Bennett thing. It felt kind of random that he would be in there in any way, shape, or form, but I guess they were trying to find some way of getting him on the show. Where was I going next? Oh, yes. The Velvet Sky and Awesome Kong match. I liked certain aspects of it. They're trying to put over the Dollhouse again. And, well, it's not that hard when you have Awesome Kong to do that, to put them over as a dominant force. So Kong ends out winning the match pretty handily. Madison Rain comes out there to try to help Velvet Sky when the attack continued on. The rest of the Dollhouse comes out. And then Awesome Kong makes it feel like she's trying to take out the Beautiful People by doing that second rope splash to Velvet Sky, kind of leaving her laying there. So maybe they're trying to play off of this aspect that she's trying to take out all the other competition in her goal of going for the Knockouts title. We'll see where they're going with that. That segment wasn't too bad. Nothing special to it, but again, not too bad. And, you got something completely different from Awesome Kong, a promo. That's what you've been getting as of late with her. You've been getting promos, and she's not bad. She is not bad on the microphone. So again, I kind of liked where they're going with that. So we'll see where they go with everything. The triple threat X Division title match, Tigre Uno and what was it? And Manderson and DJZ or Zima Ion. Actually, fairly entertaining match. What you expect out of the X Division. No storyline of a sense between the three of them going to it. It was just an X Division title match, and they were setting up for the storyline after the match with Tigre Uno and Gregory Helms or Shane Helms. Interesting that they are doing this again. They had done something like this way back towards the end of the run on Destination America, but didn't really go anywhere with it. But now it seems like they're bringing it back. And again, I liked how Gregory Helms comes out there and talks about him. Talks about the X Division being the defining thing about TNA, what set them apart, and everything like that. I thought he built it up really nice, and I liked what they did with it. I thought they did a relatively good job there. What was it? Oh, yes. The Wolves going up against Crazy Steve and what turns out to be the Monster Abyss. They were setting this up from the week before where Crazy Steve attacked. Crazy Steve and somebody attacked the Wolves and took the tag team titles. Or somebody took the tag team titles in that sense. So it seems as if they're going in this aspect of, we've had Crazy Steve for quite a long time, and even though they got rid of the menagerie a long time ago, they still have him. You might as well use him in some way. And I actually kind of like the pairing with Bram and Eric Young. The pairing with Crazy Steve and Abyss is not a bad pairing in that sense. It kind of works. The second the Harley Quinn looking type woman that came out beforehand, not sure who she actually is, but that's an interesting aspect to it as well. We'll see where that brings everything. And of course, they revealed that they had the tag team titles and beat down the Wolves at the end of the match. After the disqualification with Crazy Steve spraying the mist into one of the Wolves' eyes. Again, not a bad segment there. Honestly, in most cases, I thought, outside the aspect of a champion being in Feast or Fired with Eric Young being, the King of the Mountain champion, and that was one of the titles that was up for grab in a briefcase. That was kind of weird back there. Most of this kind of made sense, which is kind of weird for TNA in some cases. And I say in some cases, not all the times. But I will go off and say the end of the show, the end of the show was kind of this whole cluster of everything. And granted, it makes it for a slow burn towards Matt and Jeff Hardy at some point in time. Because obviously they're going to have to do something with EC3 and Matt Hardy continuing on whenever they decide to bring EC3 back into the fray. But now you feel as if you're going to get this slow burn to an eventual Matt and Jeff match somewhere down the road here. And, Jeff can work these supplemental storylines with Eric Young and in there as well. I do like how Eric Young interrupts saying that he's the number one contender because he's the King of the Mountain champion. That was an okay way of doing it. The aspect of Beer Money being Beer Money makes sense because they're going after Eric Young and Bram in there. So that actually makes sense. But the whole aspect of out of nowhere, again, you get Crazy Steve and Abyss attacking Beer Money over there as well. It's like, okay, that seems a little weird and out of place. It made it feel more of a cluster of everything going on versus just all them setting up the particular storylines. I mean, the storyline for Crazy Steve and Abyss is the Wolves at this juncture, and that's where they need to stick with it, especially since the Wolves don't do anything here. I like Matt's reaction with Tyrus and Rebby by doing nothing. Honestly, just it does engross that aspect that, he is this heel. He'll even leave his own brother out to dry in a sense like this. I thought that came off really good. And again, this Impact, honestly, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a fairly good one. Like I said, most of it makes sense. Most of it made sense. I've never liked Feast or Fired, but hey, they did it anyway. Again, let's hope they do something good with the briefcases this time. But I don't have high hopes on that usually because they've usually messed those up. But you never know; they might do something good with them for once. So we'll see where they go with everything. I thought overall this Impact was relatively good, and like I said, we'll see where they go with everything. And yeah, that's my review for TNA Impact Wrestling this week, and I thank you guys for watching.